Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish.
This is
The Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish.
This is the Petri dish. There's something growing in here, and it's some sort of infection in my lungs and sinuses. Very sorry for how this podcast is going to sound. Not audio-wise, I got some new stuff, and it sounds really cool. I just mean host-wise, because I'm a little wheezy and coughing and under the weather. So apologies now for how mucusy this solo podcast is going to be. Did someone say solo? Yes, you heard me right. It's another solo podcast. Sorry I missed last week. I was going to have a podcast out. I did record a podcast, but you know what? I'll tell you why I didn't put it out. It sounded like this.
Okay. So somebody was like, because in the video where I was trying to defend myself, I was like, men and children, and this one lady was like, I've lost respect for you because you just pointed out the men and the children, not who's fucking attacking you. Apparently only women can be afraid of being kidnapped. And I'm like, no, it's not what I fucking meant. It's just like, literally I woke up and only men and children were attacking me.
That's usually how it goes.
Yes.
Especially on TikTok.
Yes.
And that is unacceptable. So, yeah, I just figured, why not put one out, even though I had one ready to go. It just sounded really shitty. But I figured I'd just wait a week, maybe get a guest over the weekend. Guess what I didn't do? Because I was fucking sick. I'm assuming somebody just decided to rub AIDS all over the microphone when I was doing my open mic on Tuesday, because every day after that, I just got progressively worse. Until like Friday, Saturday was when I was the worst. It was so bad. But I'm feeling slightly better now. I've got my energy back, but I am still suffering nonetheless. Yeah, so sorry about how this is going to sound. But like I said, I've got new audio equipment. And speaking of new audio equipment, I'm going to pause briefly for 1 second and then break back in almost immediately. Seamless transition, just a test to make sure this all sounds okay. And of course it sounds okay, because I'm a fucking professional. So, you know, I did my taxes, got a pretty decent tax return back from last year, because I've just been hemorrhaging money as two different businesses, as well as doing repairs to the house, which I got to write off, considering this is also technically a business, what with me being paid money by people that live here. So just got to write some stuff off, while also being like, hey, look, I'm not that rich. And then so they gave me some money back, and I immediately blew it on fancy things and nice things and cool things, and now I'm broke again, which is cool. That's how money goes. That's how the economy works. That's why I don't know. I know nothing about economics, but from what I do know, people in the lower and middle class will immediately spend any money you give them. There is no such thing as saving, which is why I still don't believe in trickle-down economics. Sorry, every 80s Republican I grew up with, but like, no, like it doesn't letting the rich people have more of the money has only let them keep large bags of money away from me, the person that wants to spend large bags of money on more businesses who should have more things and cool stuff for me to buy. Like, can you imagine how dope Amazon would be if What's-His-Nuts wasn't a trillionaire or whatever, and he just instead, like, paid his workers super good and, like, had even, like, we already have free 2-day shipping with the subscription to Amazon Prime. I guarantee if we had taxed that dude a proper amount, then we would have fucking teleporters by now. But that's not how society wants to work, because everyone's afraid of everyone having health care, so that's cool. That's what I'm mad about, is that, like, I still have to be like, is this fever bad enough for me to want to spend $500? It never is. It never is. Most of the time, I'd rather die. In fact, I talked to my coworkers about that the other day after I had had far too much caffeine after also having my Adderall. And I was like, hey, guys, if I have a heart attack and die, don't call an ambulance. Call me an Uber if I'm still breathing, or just let me be dead. I have life insurance, kind of. So, yeah, that's the way life's going. Thinking about mortality a lot. I'm actively trying not to die now, which is cool, because I've got, a system of people that care about me. Not just a system. I have direct humans who care about me, who have specifically told me they don't want me to die anytime soon, and now I accept that, because that's a solid plan to have, is planning on not dying immediately. So I'm out here trying not to die, and not only am I trying not to die actively, I'm out there trying to build some cool shit. So I want to talk about that some more, because that is where I want to go. So last week, I was supposed to have a podcast out with my lovely friend Lauren, who I have known for the past fucking 12, 13 years. Fuck, we met, I was a sophomore in high school, she was a freshman. We were father and daughter in The Crucible. And so that was 07? Yeah, that was 07 when we met. So yeah, that was a long fucking time ago. Shit. I feel so old now. But yeah, I was going to have her on because if we're talking about successful public figures in any way, shape, or form, as far as like comedy and relatability and quote unquote celebrity goes, of all the people I've had on this podcast, number one most famous would probably be David Bory. And then number two is probably Lauren. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok, and that's pretty cool. And she doesn't know why it's like that either, which is hilarious to me, because, man, if I had a platform anywhere close to that, which she is helping me build, thankfully, I'd be only doing the dumbest shit I can because it's funny to me. And so I went over there last week just to talk with her about, like, hey, what's your life been like? How have we both gotten to where we are now? And what is it like, being the amount of successful that you are? Even though, of course, she doesn't feel as successful as she totally is, but, like, shit, I mean, I follow other creators and stuff on TikTok who I love, and they don't even have half the followers that she does. So, like, she has influence. People send her shit in the mail. She has a P.O. box for people to send shit to. It's really fucking dope. And I just wanted to, like, talk with her and be like, this is way cooler than I think you know. But she's embarrassed of it because, she's just making, like, dumb mirror TikToks where she, shits on anti-vaxxers and talks about her kids. Which is a lane. Everyone's got to carve their own lane. I'm just a fucking dork who talks about his emotions too much and then just says some goofy shit and then I make some songs. Like, that's all I do if I'm going to boil it down. So, we had a whole talk. It was super cool. And then I looked at my audio equipment and it had shit the bed on me. Not that any of it is broken, but I had spent some time reconfiguring some stuff on my end, and I fucked it up, and I did not reset it properly, so it is totally on me for how bad that last one sounded. I had, for the audio dorks out there who don't want to run into the same mistakes that I frequently have for the podcasts that I've lost, I was setting my input buffering to the wrong settings. I was setting it either too high, so things were lagging out because my computer couldn't keep up, or in the case with the episode with Lauren, I set it way too low, and it sounds like when people make those videos where they turn someone talking into a MIDI file, translate the notes, and put it into a piano, where you're like, oh, there's only 256 sounds happening to make this audio. With, the way my voice sounds right now, there's like 4,000. So when you only have a few hundred, it's the same thing with old video games, like 8-bit, 16-bit. You can have visual, but it'll look blocky. And same with audio. If you only have a certain amount of bits, you will hear the audio, but it will sound blocky, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's your fucking audio talk of the day. I've been getting far too into my amateur audio and or electrical engineering lately. Been looking heavy into like guitar pedals and the physics with which that happens. because I like to think that I can learn things on YouTube. So I've been doing that. I've been trying to get better with the studio. Now, instead of having my wonky old mixer from like 15 years ago feed into my little audio input, I just bought one mixer specifically to go straight into my computer. So now there is half the amount of audio shit there was before, and honestly, I think it sounds better. I'm using a different microphone right now, so I probably sound different, and my audio settings are a little messed up, and I'm sick, but I do believe once I get all the microphones in place and we have like a full podcast in here, then we will totally have an awesome sounding setup. Speaking of totally awesome things, Same Problems is coming back for their first episode in 2020. I'm going to record that tomorrow, probably put it out that same week, probably that Thursday, if not immediately. It's going to have Tess Barker and Georgia Brooks, which Tess Barker, I believe, I don't think she's been on the podcast before, has she? No, I think they just had her. Oh, you probably heard her on the Same Problems live episode that also had, was Brandy on that one? Either way, I just remember Andrew Arolfo and Liz Stone being in there because I just love them. And so it was the Same Problems live episode. You probably heard Tess Barker on doing her stand-up. So she'll be back actually in the studio. And Georgia Brooks is currently co-host of one of my new favorite podcasts called Nice Bum, Where You From? And that is a podcast that is run by her and her husband, Hampton Yount, who was, I definitely know, one of my favorites, and I think one of Austin's favorites too, in both stand-up and podcasting, because Hampton had a podcast called Suicide Buddies with another favorite comedian of ours, Dave Ross. So, I mean, there's just all manner of fun things happening. It's cool to get, like, not that all of my lovely friends around here aren't real comedians, and not that anyone that I've had on the podcast isn't a real comedian, but this is the first time I am having someone in the studio, quote-unquote, in the fucking house, who I very much am a fan of and respect, like sitting down, just ready to go and hang out, which is fucking cool as shit. So I can't wait for Tess and Georgia to get here tomorrow, actually. So when you hear this, that'll be happening later today. I will be actively shitting myself. If you're listening to this, please don't text me. I will be stressed. What with work, and then the open mic, and then the podcasting, and being sick still, probably. But yeah, so that's going to happen. Really excited, so keep an eye out for the newest Same Problems episode. Honestly, the Petri Dish podcast is going to start just being an update on everything having to do with the newly unveiled Petri Dish Network, which, of course, the Petri Dish is a part of. It's the head. It's going to be the news with which you learn about all things. So, what should have been my episode with Lauren turned into us just fucking around over the weekend, and now we're going to have more podcast stuff happening. I have another podcast in the work with a buddy of mine who, we'll reveal more of that once we get through. I'm going to edit the pilot episode. We're going to try to bag a few more before we release it out to you guys. But it's going to be something a little different, a little new, still with, dorks riffing about stuff, but a little more structured than our usual. So I'm very excited about that. New podcast in the works. I recorded a song over the weekend because Lauren was apparently accused of bullying Tesla on TikTok. It's, for those of you who don't know, TikTok is basically like Vine was in the way that it's short videos, either 15 to 60 seconds, and you can do sketches or dumb little dances and songs. I know right now, one of the fun Reno people who she messes around with the comedy scene a little bit, but she's mostly an amazing musician. Grace Hayes, she is currently on TikTok right now, just writing like fast food songs, or just dumb little fun songs for people. In fact, I think she just released an album under her TikTok name, Grace or something, all one word. So check out that. She has TikTok songs out there, and she used. I'm kind of mad because I was going to use the same picture that I have at the ice cream museum on one of the horses, just like riding it nice and centered. She already used her picture like that, so now I can't use it for any of my albums. But it's super cool. So check out Grace's album of TikTok songs. It might help you understand TikTok a little more. But what happened with TikTok is everyone missed Vine. Vine didn't exist anymore. There was a hole in humanity's heart in social media for a new thing that is just short-ass videos, you know, because Instagram exists and it's fun, but it doesn't have the same effect that those other things did. And so TikTok came around because it used to be this app that people used called like Songly, I think, where they could like sing songs into their phone, and they could like duet with other people to sing songs. But then they opened it all up. Some Chinese company bought it and opened it up to just be like whatever videos you want, tag things, and you know, have fun. And so Lauren started up on TikTok talking about you know, her life as a stay-at-home mom, especially raising one child with different needs as the rest, because I believe her son is on the spectrum, and the other one is just a baby. And so she's just having a lot of fun creating videos about how difficult that is. Like, there was one where she was just like, hey, here's a toilet bowl filled with toys. Yes, there's a turd under there. So, like, you know, she's got hundreds of thousands of followers now because of her hashtag mom life stuff. So she dabbles in other things, too. Like when she saw someone with their nice new Tesla talking about, like, ooh, look, the door handle's hidden, and then I use this cool credit card thing to get in my car, and then I can put it down in the middle. And she's like, yeah, but what if you're being chased? Because what if someone tries to kidnap you? You can't, like, open it up with the fob, and you can't get in really quick. You got to, like, have this key fob, this, like, key card thing ready to go out of your wallet and shit. And everyone was just like, stop being mean to Tesla. You're so dumb. Stop bullying this multi-million national corporation. And she was just like, excuse me, I'm bullying Tesla? And then a bunch of us got together to make fun of her and be like, yeah, stop bullying Tesla. And of course, a fun trend is now calling people the CEO of various things. And so we started calling her the CEO of bullying Tesla. And because of that, I thought it was funny enough to then make a rap diss track at Tesla that we could both make a TikTok out of. So if you want to go over to Ollie Rose 88 on TikTok and check out CEO of bullying Tesla, it's just me rapping about how shitty Tesla and specifically Elon Musk are. And it was a fun fucking time. It took like 3-4 hours to like write, record, and shoot, which is honestly not that much at all for how much we were, you know, thinking about trying, and it came together very quickly, and it's pretty funny. I enjoyed it. It's honestly one of the biggest things I've done as far as comedy goes. You know, like, it's got over 20,000 views, I think. And of course, Lauren was just like, oh, that's not that many. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't have 20,000 people looking at anything I do. She's used to getting like 50, 60,000 consistently. I'm like, hey, I'm happy that I doubled my followers on this fucking app that I don't know how to use. So, oh no, I'm excited. And so, yeah, now me and Lauren are both the CEO of bullying Tesla because we're fucking calling them out. So that's what I was doing over the weekend, while I was also wheezing and sick a little bit. Another fun thing that happened is I left work early on Thursday. I was feeling real shitty, and as soon as I got home and I was like, I guess I'll just work from home, my girlfriend decided to drive all the way to Reno and surprise me because she had Thursday, Friday off. So she just drove down. After we had talked about it previously, and I was just like, it would be really cool to see you. You come hang out and, you know, do whatever. But I'll have to be at work, and, you know, maybe I can take one day off. She's like, no, don't take any days off. Like, okay. And then Thursday came around, and she was like, I'm probably not going to make it. And then behind my back, she conspired with my friends and all my roommates to surprise me, and I still somehow ruined the surprise. But she still showed up and surprised me, and it was very nice. It was very nice to have somebody around to kind of take care of me, because I was like, hey, surprise, I'm also sick, so hope you're ready to get sick, which she was. She very much got sick. I definitely sneezed directly in her face a few times. Sorry, Alicia. But, you know, she just hung out for the weekend for her, and then the beginning of the weekend for me, I took her to dinner with my mom, which is a big step, guys. I don't know if you guys know, when your girlfriend meets your mom, that's when your mom decides to say some embarrassing shit. Like I outed myself a little bit on some of the things, but we were having dinner, of course, at the Atlantis buffet, as you do with my mother, and my mom decided to be like, he's very kind and sensitive, right? And I was like, God damn it, Mom, don't do it. But please do. Please brag about how kind and sensitive I am. It is kind of my whole brand, so I want to see what her story was. And this is a thing I don't even remember, what she told Alicia, was that apparently in 3rd grade, I remember we used to have to line up on the stairs before going in, and one of the students showed up with, the rolling backpacks, which were super popular in the early 2000s, but it was too heavy for her to take up the stairs that went up there for getting up the stairs to our 3rd grade classroom. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll help. So I went down the stairs, grabbed her bag, walked all the way up to the top, and I was like, there you go. My mom was just like, so blown away by how nice that was. Like, no one told me to do it. No one asked me. I was like 7 or 8 years old. Just thought I'd help a girl out who couldn't fucking lift a thing. And I'm like, what? That's what you do. It's society. We fucking help people. But apparently, I've just been a little fucking communist my whole life. So that's how that goes. And my mom decided to just tell my girlfriend how sensitive and helping I am. And I decided to make it way worse by adding on to it and be like, yeah, remember when I cried a bunch because you didn't walk me to school one morning when I was like 10? I was too old to be crying about it. I was like 10 years old. And my mom used to walk me to school. It was like a 10-minute walk. I did it myself. But like, I was so used to the routine of having her there. And it was, my parents were getting divorced at the time. So I was probably, latching on a little too hard to certain routines in order to get through. And so, like, I'm pretty sure what happened was my stepdad was passing a kidney stone that morning and had to go to the emergency room because he thought he was fucking dying. And my mom was just like, I'm late to walk Bobby to school. Here's the emergency room. Bye. And she just took the car and drove there, and I was already gone. And she got to my school to see if I was fine, and I was just like sitting in front of my classroom, bawling my fucking eyes out because my mom forgot me. And she was just like, I didn't forget you, but I get it. And I just made her feel so bad about it. That's another thing I'm good at. I'm really good at making my parents feel bad about things that they've forgotten. That's my superpower. So yeah, that's how my week has gone. I have a lovely girlfriend who surprises me with her presents, which I don't hate at all because I kind of don't like surprises, but it was kind of a fun trickery that she pulled where I was like thinking that she'd show up, and then she was like, I'm not showing up, and then she did. And I just happened to be super sick, so I had those days off. And then she, just sat around and just let me be all mopey and sick, and it was very nice. And then I told some embarrassing stories. That was fun. Recorded some dumb fucking comedy stuff, which was fun. It was fun for me. Grew my follower base on TikTok. And if I'm going to go into the planning of how this is going to work, I am hoping the Petri Dish Network will have its first quarterly release out in March with some stand-up comedians from this area that I very much enjoy and want to hype. There are a few stand-ups that I wish I would have gotten on this first release, but I understand why they didn't want to be on the inaugural one because, excuse me. I can understand because no one really trusts me to do a good job until I show them that the thing that I'm doing is super fucking cool. And then everyone wants on board after they see the product, which makes sense. A lot of people want to see the demo before they give anything a chance. But what sucks is like, I'm fronting the money and time for so many things. People still don't think that it's worth even like 15 minutes of their day. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I don't really want to deal with you right now, because if it was easy on your end and you could have done it, lots of things are difficult on my end, and I'm just making it happen because the barrier with which a lot of people do not get noticed and or do things around here is because something takes effort, and I'm trying to take the effort part out of it. If you just meet me like not even halfway, like 10%. But that's just a complaint that I have for most creatives, is that none of them care. And I get it. it's hard to care a lot, and I frequently go through bouts of not caring and not keeping up with things. But also, like, come on, guys. I do stuff. I do cool stuff. Fucking hit me with the things, so we can all rise together. I don't want to be accused of leaving people out of things or being malicious in any way. I'm just trying to fucking do cool things with people I like. But, I frequently don't like people. And sometimes the people I do like, I will find a reason not to like them for a minute, so I just don't have to have a part of my brain dedicated to caring about them for a second. So I'll kind of, time to go back into the psychology time. Psychology time. I do this thing where if I am too busy or if I'm too scatterbrained about something, I'll pick little fights in my head, or I'll pick little personality traits about people that I don't want to think about anymore, and I will use whatever scenario I've set up in my brain as the reason for me to write off that person for any amount of time. And when they come back into my life and we're cool, I forget that we were just always cool and I created the thing, and I just have to relearn myself. Like, oh yeah, we're totally fine. It's just I needed to remove you from my brain for a second in order to keep on surviving. So if you've ever thought we aren't cool, if I haven't explicitly told you we're not fucking cool anymore, we're probably cool. I can't with all the things that I'm doing, especially with work. I am letting a lot of things slip through the end of this month because of how much I have to put into work right now. But hopefully soon that's on the downswing, so I can have the upswing of everything I'm doing with the Petri Dish Network, which is, as I was in the middle of saying, I'm hoping to put out quarterly albums of comedians regionally, locally, for release to all of the various music streaming and distribution sites, so that everyone in this area has a little bit of something to say, this is a thing I was a part of. Here's the scene I come from. Here's something concrete. Here's good stuff. And it's not going to just go under, like other things, like people lose YouTube videos and shit all the time. People are ashamed of that stuff. But if you have like an album and an artist page on Spotify, that hits a little different. People can look you up and like read your little about me section. It hits a little different to me. If you travel to another city and someone's just like, oh yeah, you do comedy, and you can be like, yeah, you can look up my album right now, and they look it up and they're like, oh yeah, you are on Spotify, recorded with headshots and about me and multiple compilations and her album parts. That's pretty fucking cool, and I want to do that for people, and I want us to look more credible. We have fucking amazing comics. There is amazing joke writers in this area. It's just having a wider audience, having the audience behind us, because not to shit on all the Reno comedians that came, before my generation of people, but plenty of the comics in this area have given the general populace a bad taste in their mouth because of how they have chosen to run comedy as this sort of pseudo punk rock, like anti-establishment thing. And I get it. You want to be like the most free artistic expression possible, and fuck the people that try to, say this or censor you or whatever. But it's like, yeah, this high school isn't trying to censor you because they hate free speech. They're trying to censor you because they don't really think these 16-year-olds need your abortion jokes right now. It's like, sometimes there's a reason for stuff. Or, sure, you want to be the most free and the most expressive, but like, yeah, the GSA on a campus didn't hire you to do a bunch of homophobic jokes. They wanted you to just be fucking funny, Like, you don't have to play the heel all the fucking time. You're supposed to just make people laugh. And of course, you can always put the onus back on the audience. Like, well, if they were cool, they should have just laughed at that. Yeah, sure, but now you're also, like, offended and a dick about stuff but you're offended about different stuff because people are different. And so, of course, all these, like rah-rah free speech people are totally funny comedians who have 100% valid points or not at all, or just trying to be, I don't know, counterproductive for the sake of their own voice being louder for a second. I don't know. There's just something that bugs me about people that feel like they need to spread the worst parts of humanity specifically just to prove a point. Like, if you are a crazy person in the street smearing shit on your chest and the cops come and arrest you, that sucks. We need to have better mental health institutions, but it makes sense. If you're a quote-unquote sane person rubbing shit on your chest to prove how crazy everyone else is, it's not other people that are the problem. It's you. Stop smearing shit on yourself in public. I don't care what point you're trying to prove. It's stupid, probably. And if your point was that you should have the freedom to smear shit on yourself whenever, sure. Okay. You win. Maybe not right next to a school. It's just, we have these things that should just be fine. Like, we shouldn't have to say them. Like, hey, don't whip your dick out next to this daycare. We shouldn't have to say that, but it's a rule that exists. It's a law that exists because guess what? People are going to do it because why? Because freedom, and it's... humanity is just in a spot right now where there's so many amplification systems for all voices that too many people are getting a platform to smear shit on themselves. And that's what I don't like. So I'm trying to be a new amplification system for people that are just trying to make other people laugh. Without the shit smearing. Without the weird fucking gimmicks, I guess. Without fucking having to be a shithole Proud Boy or whatever. Without having to cater to people as if... Like, I get it. Of course, weird right-wing comics can make a point of just these guys, they don't want to say anything real. They just want... They're trying to do their highbrow humor. They're looking down on us. Like, I'm not looking down on anybody. I'm just trying to make whatever room of people I'm in laugh. Using my life experience. And I'm sorry if my life experience has included various gender, race, and or socioeconomic things that make you uncomfortable as a white person. That sucks for you, that you hate the amount of privilege that you don't think you have, but where I'm at, you suck. So you can keep sucking in your realm, I'll keep sucking in my realm. We'll see which one is going to lead to happiness. And of course it's going to be yours leading to more happiness. Because a lot of people mistake triteness and laughing through your bitter smirk as actual happiness. And it's just just because you can swill whiskey and wear Guy Fieri flame t-shirts, that doesn't mean you're happy or a good person, So yeah, that's what I don't know what any of that was for. I'm just mad about stuff. I'm sick, and I just wanna let everyone know that I'm trying to do cool things. I'm trying to do things that make people happy and laugh and feel like their voice is being heard. And if you feel like your voice isn't being heard, and you feel like I'm the obstacle with which your voice isn't being heard, I don't care. Make your own then. I'm not here for you if you don't want to be here for me. That's just how this is going. And sure, I'm coming from a place of privilege where I'm allowed to, only listen to the opinions. I don't fucking care anymore. I only like my people. I like my people, and my people will keep on growing because I'm pretty cool, and so are the people I surround myself with. I had a pretty crazy open mic last week. I want to talk about that a little bit. I like to think that I have fostered weirdness because people are comfortable with being their true selves around me, because I, as an expressive artist, might not be the funniest dude all the time, but at least I'm honest about where I'm at, and I try to just let people know that, like, you can just be whatever brand of piece of shit you are. Just do it honestly. Like, I hate when people are pieces of shit and they're doing it satirically. You know, like, ooh, isn't it ironic that I act this way? It's not, because you always act that way, so I just think you're an asshole. Except it's a quote-unquote character. So I don't get it. Like, I get characters. I do them frequently. But if your entire character is based around being a fucking dickhole to everybody, that's fine. Anti-comedy is cool, and I guess Andy Kaufman is fun. But that dude's legit dead. And, you know, I just want people to be weird and fun and whatever strange that they are in their base state, not as a response to other people's existence, you know? It's that same adage of dance like nobody's watching, except instead of dancing, just literally put anything else in there. You know, like, if you can't be yourself without somebody else having to put in their input so that you can then react to that input to put it out, your art is no different than those fucking lame reaction videos on YouTube where it's just people overreacting to stupid things specifically for the sake of riding the coattails of whatever that thing was. And it's lame. Like heckler comedians. I will shit on one. I don't know if I want to call him out specifically because he's kind of a dick on the internet. But we all know of a specific comedian who posts a bunch of, oh, heckler did this videos. And he comes around frequently, and he's very much not a fun person to hang out with in person. Not that I've gotten to hang out with him. He's very standoffish, kind of rude to the general populace of people working in clubs. But his entire shtick is like, here's some like vaguely opinionated stand-up, and sure, it's like cleverly written, and it's got its parts to it, and it's very formulaic, and it's fine. It's as stand-up, it's just fine. You know, like, it'll work. It fills an hour. It's great. But when you see him live repeat a punchline like 3 times in a row and then pause for like 3 seconds, there's a certain point where you're like, oh, he's not trying to make a point. He's trying to bait the hook right now so that he can get a fun video of like, look how trashy Reno is with this person yelling about Trump. And it's like, yeah, but you made, like, no, you didn't make a shitty joke about Donald Trump. You made a shitty joke about people, which, you know, like, of course they're going to react, you know? It's the same way that, like, when people go around saying everyone who has ever supported Donald Trump is a Nazi. That's some bullshit. Like, I get it if you don't like the dude and you think that he's running some sort of, like, fascist regime. That's fine. Like, you don't have to make fun of the people in order to get a reaction so that you can then make profit off of their reaction, because that's worse. I don't know, that's more slimy to me. To instigate negativity in the world specifically for your own profit is the strangest negative capitalism loop that really fucking bothers me. You know? To me, that's basically the new digital equivalent of bum fights. And so, like, I don't know, I hate that shit. So, fuck heckler videos. Unless I post them, in which case they happened organically. Because, you know, sometimes those heckler videos are fun. Because when you're at a show and someone won't shut the fuck up, you do have to tactfully make sure they stop fucking up your show, while also making sure everyone else is still having fun. Because hecklers will destroy a show for everyone else, if not just the comedian, unless the comedian fucking sucks, in which case they'll lose the whole audience with their own jokes, be heckled by everyone, and then that just means you blow. I don't know. Fuck, I don't even know anymore. Anyway, I'm running a comedy network, guys. So March is going to be busy. Same Problems is coming back. We're going to start releasing Same Problems episodes again. We took a little hiatus. Got to recombobulate. Hopefully we will have more Same Problems episodes. If not, we will give it a proper sign-off so that you know if it's officially... Oh, God, yep, I'm going to die. Well, so we know if it's officially over or not, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully we can keep on that train of releasing episodes. I'm going to die. Ugh. Yeah, I'll end this quick so I don't get too mucusy into this podcast. Hopefully, another new podcast will be on the horizon with a brand new talking head, as well as myself as one of the co-hosts. But, hopefully a new podcast on the horizon as well. And as I come back out of my negative spiral of hating everyone and try again to ingratiate myself to the Reno scene at large, we will hopefully have more guests and new guests on the podcast again as I reformulate what this Petri Dish podcast is going to be, especially now that it is the namesake figurehead for which the network exists on. And as I turn into this strange, money-losing comedy mogul, I will hopefully put out a bunch of fun content on TikTok as The Bobby Benedict, Instagram as The Bobby Benedict, Twitter at Bobby Benedict, and Facebook as Bobby Benedict. And so, guys, check me out on the internet. I'm doing a bunch of stuff consistently, mostly on TikTok and Instagram, because those are my cool things. Keep an eye out for Sad Giants. We're still doing stuff. Sad Giants is never going away. I will always be making my real music on top of whatever dumb fake music I make and dumb videos. So keep on looking out. Every Tuesday, Coffee and Comics, we do have a new show on the horizon for the end of March. We have it on the books. March 28th is going to be the first edition of my Comedy Olympics. The first two people that are going to be team captains for the two teams competing in the Comedy Olympics will be Matt Wiegand and Jim Fleming. So come out March 28th, Coffee and Comics. I believe it'll be a free show. It'll start around 8 p.m., maybe a little bit before. We'll get the finer details worked out soon. But we will have a cavalcade of comedy for you. And so, with that, I will leave you. Thank you all for your lovely support. And listen to Sean Patton's album Scuttlebutt that came out. It's kind of funny, long stories, but I love that dude as a comic. So yeah, check that out. Even though I keep trying to spread positivity, it usually is coming from a negative place. So I'm trying to change that. I'm not trying to change it too much because spreading positivity as a byproduct of absorbing negativity is a good trait to have. And I know I frequently spill out that negativity in a way to explain why I act the way I do. But just know that everything I'm doing is trying to come from a good place. And I am not out specifically to exclude anybody or cast any aspersions unless I feel like transgressions have occurred against me and mine first. So, everyone just be cool. And we will talk to you later. Thanks, bye.